The Making of a Book by Karen Rothbard. Essential question: how have books changed over time? Chapter 1: The Beginning. When you walk into a bookstore or a library, you may see thousands of books lining the shelves. Each book that you see began as an idea in someone else's mind. Ideas for books come from many different experiences. For example, someone might notice a large empty bird's nest in a tree and be inspired to write a non-fiction book about migrating birds. Someone else might write a scary story that takes place in an abandoned cabin after reading a newspaper article about an old rundown house. It sometimes takes a writer months or even years to organize his or her ideas and write about them. Then, many people work together to turn the writer's work into an actual book. That is what book publishing is all about. Keep reading to learn about the history of publishing and how an idea in a writer's mind becomes a book. You can borrow from the library, buy at your favorite store, or download as an ebook. Early books, from clay to paper. The oldest known books were written in ancient Mesopotamia on clay blocks called tablets. While a tablet was wet, the writer would use a special tool called a stylus to write on it. He or she would press the point of the stylus into the clay to make marks. If the writing did not fit on one tablet, the writer would start a new one and give it a number. Put together, the tablets would be similar to a book with numbered pages. After the writer finished writing each tablet, he or she would place it in the sun or into a special oven called a kiln to harden. The dried tablets could last a long time. Many of them have been discovered and are still readable today. Later, the Egyptian papyrus roll came into use. The papyrus roll was a step closer to the modern printed book. Papyrus is a type of plant the ancient Egyptians used to make paper. Pieces of papyrus paper were pasted together, written on with a brush and colored inks, and then rolled up. The Greeks and Romans also used the papyrus rolls. After the papyrus roll came parchment. Parchment was made from stretched animal skin, which was better for writing because it had a smooth surface that absorbed ink well. It also could be scrubbed clean and reused. Before 1450, there were only a few thousand books in Europe because each one had to be handwritten by professionals called scribes. It was a painstaking process. By the late 1400s, however, the printing press had been invented in Germany and the number of books had exploded. By 1500, about 9 million books had been printed. Analyze the text. Domain specific vocabulary. How can you determine the meaning of technical words such as tablets, papyrus, and parchment? What clues does the author provide? An early printing press. From about 1550 until 1800, most publishers used the same method for printing books, a machine called a printing press. Each letter in a book was carved out of wood or metal and then set into a flat surface called a platen. This platen held all the words for one page of writing. The letters were then covered with ink and pressed against the paper. The result was one printed page, but the page could be printed over and over to make many copies. To make the next page, however, the letters had to be removed and reset into the new words. Printers use a similar process to put illustration in books. A picture was carved into a piece of wood called a woodcut. The woodcut was covered with a roller dipped in ink and then pressed against paper. A woodcut could be used over and over again. With the invention of the printing press, printers could meet the public's demand for books. Books were mostly made with hard covers until the 1950s. When paper covers became popular, paperback books were cheaper to make and to buy than harder cover books. They were also easier to carry. Most paperbacks were, and still are, reprints of books that were originally hardcover. Chapter 2: Modern Publishing. Authors and Agents. Authors are people who write books. They begin the publishing process by creating manuscripts. A manuscript is a completed piece of writing. It may go through many drafts and revisions before it is ready to be submitted to a publisher who will buy it and turn it into a book. Many authors hire literary agents to help them sell their work. Literary agents are helpful because they have contact with publishers and can determine the best way to present an author's work to them. Part of an agent's job is to convince editors and publishers to buy an author's manuscript. An agent may send out a sample or an early draft to publishers to try to get them to other book contract, which is an agreement stating that the publisher will pay the author for his or her work. Sometimes when an author gets a book contract, the publisher will give him or her an advance money paid to an author before the book is complete. An advance helps a writer finish a manuscript because it provides an income while the writer works through the writing process. Agents may also represent the author in pay negotiations and meetings about how to package a book and promote it to the public. Finding the right agent is not always easy. The relationship between an agent and a writer is an special partnership. The agent has to be interested enough in the author's work to want to sell it, and the author has to trust the agent to represent him or her well. Editors and marketing people. Putting a book together is like putting together a puzzle. All of the pieces need to fit perfectly, and editors are the people who make sure that they do. Editors work for publishers and they perform many tasks. Some choose manuscripts or ideas to purchase, while others come up with ideas themselves and then search for the right authors to create manuscript from scratch. Most editors work with authors to make improvements to manuscripts by suggesting revisions or changes. Even after a manuscript has been purchased, an editor may ask an author to delete some parts of it or expand others. Sometimes an editor will ask an author to rearrange or even rewrite the manuscript. An author and editor collaborate until both are happy with the end product. The manuscript then goes to a copy editor who fine-tunes the writing by correcting problems such as grammatical errors and repetitive sentences. A copy editor also will check facts so that faulty information does not end up in the final printed book. Editors aren't concerned only with the words on the page. However, they also think about how to persuade people to buy and read those words. They get help from the marketing department. People in marketing perform research and have a lot of interaction with customers, so they know how to make products appealing to buyers. Together, members of the editorial and marketing departments brainstorm ideas about how to make the book appealing to customers. Marketing people might make suggestions about cover art, pricing, and in-store shelf display that will best showcase the book. They also might suggest when and where to set up events for the author, such as book signings. Artists and illustrators. Editors also team up with the artists and illustrators. Together they decide which kinds of images should be on the cover and inside the book. They look for the right style that will complement the text and appeal to readers. Book covers images need to suggest what the book is about and catch the consumer's eye. Some books include photographs rather than illustrations. Editors find appropriate photographs for the book and get permission from the copyright owners to use copies of them, or they hire a photographer to take new ones. Artists design how the print appears on the page. They decide which font or type style a book should have. Because each font has a different personality, artists also choose the size of the type and decide how to arrange words on the page. The words need to be easy and pleasant to read. Readers don't often notice good design, but a poor one can make a book difficult to enjoy. Graphic designers and printers. Finally, the words and pictures are complete, and it is time to make the actual book. Graphic designers use computers to set the words into type, add the images, and make sure everything fits correctly. Because the designers are able to do a lot of their work on computers now, changes are much easier to make than they were several years ago. The graphic designer makes copies of the pages so the editor, author, and artists can check them. The team makes sure that all of the images and words are correct. Then the graphic designer prepares the book for the printer. Printers produce the final books. Printers usually are separate business from publishers, but the two work together. The printer helps the publisher choose the right paper for the book. Printers no longer use the printing presses from long ago. Today they use computers to print books. The printer uses computer files from the publisher to make metal printing plates. The plates are treated with chemicals so the ink sticks only to the words and pictures. Then a mechanical press puts the ink on the paper, making printed page. Printers make as many copies as the publisher wants by using large printing presses. Presses may print on large sheets or huge rolls of paper. Presses are noisy, so workers must protect their ears so the constant whooshing and clanking sounds are muted. The printer sets up the book's page so they will be in the correct order after the paper is cut and folded. Special machines fold the pages in sections and glue them together, creating a book binding. While another machine adds a cover to the book is ready to be shipped to bookstores, libraries, and schools. If a book is expected to be a bestseller, bookstores may ask the printer for thousands of copies before the book is officially released. A modern printing press. Once the book is published, the selling process begins. Marketing people plan the book's publicity. They want as many people as possible to hear or read about the new book. They might publicize a book by sending advance copies of it to reviewers who will write about the book in newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. For additional publicity, authors often travel to different places to give readings, sign their books, and talk with readers. Many authors also have their own websites or blogs. They give updates about their new books and share information about themselves. They hope that people will be interested enough to buy and read their books. The publisher's salespeople speak with bookstores and libraries to convince them to buy copies of the book. Bookstores and libraries order the books they want from the publisher's warehouse, where the books are stored before shipping. Once the books are on shelves, readers can buy a copy at a store or borrow it from a local library. Analyze the text. Sequence of events. The author has arranged the chapters in certain order. How does chapter 2 fit into the overall structure of the selection? How do books get published? Writers create manuscripts. Agents help writers sell their work. Editors choose manuscripts and help writers improve them. Photographers and illustrators create pictures. Marketing people decide how to sell the book. Graphic designers combine words and pictures to make the pages. Production people figure out how much it costs to manufacture the book. Printers print, cut, and bind the pages and put on the cover. Books are shipped to bookstores and libraries. Analyze the text. Diagrams. How does information in the diagram work with the main text to help you better understand the process of bookmaking? Chapter 3. Beyond hard copies. Audiobooks. Many of the books you can read in hard copy are also available as audiobooks. An audiobook is a recording of someone reading the text. With an audiobook, people can read while riding a bus or train, exercise, or doing some other activity. Audiobooks also allow people who are visually impaired to enjoy texts and stories that are not available in large type or braille. E-books by 1999. Many books were published both in print and as e-books, available with the click of a computer mouse. In 2006, the e-reader, a portable device that stores books and displays their text on a built-in screen, was introduced. Today, people can read e-books on e-readers as well as on a personal computer and smartphones. Creating ebooks has become a popular way for publishers to share content with readers. The future. In the future, there could be even more ways to publish books. As the popularity of ebooks grows, publishers are changing their process and even the ways in which they acquire and sell books. They also are seeing an increase in sales. People enjoy being able to have digital copies of their favorite books that they can take with them anywhere. Of course, there are others who will always be in love with the feel of a book in their hands as they turn paper pages. For now, readers and publishers have the best of both worlds.